if the Feds lower the rates by a quarter, that we would be okay. If they lowered a half, we would be like, yes, it's a refi, boom.
Welcome to Money Mortgage Mindset. Join expert mortgage brokers Andrew Karam and Sean Price as they share insights to improve financial health, explore mortgage options, and cultivate a positive mindset that drives success.
Welcome to Money Mortgage Mindset. I'm your host, Andrew Karam, and co-host Sean Price. How are you doing today, Sean?
Good, man. How are you?
Excellent. Excellent. Another day in paradise here in sunny Arizona. Loving this beautiful weather.
Yes, it's finally cooling down a little bit. It's great.
There's a nice crisp in the air. The heat's starting to come down a little bit. What are you seeing out there in the wonderful mortgage world?
Oh man, I think what I'm seeing first is just people finally jumping off the bench. They're finally jumping in the game and realizing that the market's probably not going to crash, so it's probably okay to buy.
I get that question like every day, like, I'm going to wait. I'm waiting till rates go down, or I'm waiting until the election, or I'm waiting just to wait. And I think those are the people that are going to be missing out. They're going to be missing out. They're going to be kicking themselves, when the market does change, because it's always going to change. It's always going to change. But I think the one thing that is forever in the long haul, you're going to see home values consistently go up. Some years are going to be up, some years are going to be down, but consistently. I mean, just look back like 10 years. What were home values 10 years ago?
Yeah. I mean,
go back another 10.
Yeah.
And another 10.
Well, and that's just it. I think it's because, we all were conditioned back in, 06 and 07, just from that crazy crash, right? We're all just waiting. Well, wait a minute. We had that huge skyrocket back in, what was it, 2020 or 21? So everyone was just kind of waiting for that crash again. And like I just talked with a customer yesterday, and he goes, you know what? My wife and I've been waiting for a couple of years for this crash to happen, and we don't think it's going to happen. So we better just jump in because we've become the next California with these prices.
I think you're going to see home values level off. I think we have seen some of that, but inventory is high right now. Like inventory is climbing, and it's all about supply and demand, right? If demand is exceeding the supply, it's going to keep home values high. But one of the things that I want to talk about is people sitting on the sideline waiting for rates to come down to refinance. We talked about the Fed's lowering rates, and what happened, Sean?
Man, we all thought that if the Feds lower the rates by a quarter, that we would be okay. If they lowered a half, we would be like, yes, it's a refi, boom, and then mortgage rates went up. Yep. And I think it's because of just the market realizing, again, what a lot of people don't realize sometimes is that what drives interest rates is investors, right? Investors investing in the bond market or stock market. And at the end of the day, we saw the market rally. The stock market started going up because people were pulling out of the bond market. Next thing we know, mortgage rates increase.
I think that's like the biggest misconception. Like when you're watching the news and you're like, the Feds lowered the rates. Like the Feds don't control the mortgage rates. Those mortgages are bought and sold and traded on the secondary market. And that's what you talk about investors, right? When we saw rates in the 2s and 3s, I think most people don't understand it was because the government was subsidizing those mortgage-backed securities, and they were buying up those mortgage-backed securities and basically getting in front of the investors and saying, hey, we're going to buy these mortgage-backed securities at super low rates so that we can make it more affordable. It was all government subsidized, right? Mm-hmm. But when they do lower the rate, the Fed fund rate, it is what's lowering your credit card rates. Okay. So like if your credit card is prime plus 10, right? Then you're 18%. If the prime rate went from 8.5 to 8, now you're at 18. Like shoot, most of them that I'm seeing, I don't know about you, but I'm seeing people with credit card rates 22, 25, pushing 30% interest rate. What are you seeing?
It's insane. The same. Yeah, it's insane. And then just seeing all these credit card payments pulled credit on a gentleman yesterday, and he's got like $10,000 of credit card payments. It's crazy how high it is.
Now, the beautiful thing that I think is the silver lining in this whole market that we're in is home values are still staying high. So what were you able to do with that particular client? Did he have equity? Were you able to leverage the equity? What was the outcome?
Well, that particular client, I was a little capped because it was before we had our new product rollout yesterday, where we can now refinance up to almost 90% of the value. But well, it was actually the day before yesterday that I pulled credit, and that's why. But at that moment, I didn't have quite enough. I only had about 100 grand that I could use. But now that we can pull out another 10% of equity, I might have enough to be able to go pay off all those credit cards and save this guy just thousands of dollars a month.
Mm. Ballpark for me, it doesn't have to be exact, but like, is the interest rate overall, is it going down? Is it going up?
Mortgages
No, no, no. The on
or
this
the
particular client, are you
oh, in this
like
particular client, so
like what's his current rate versus new rate?
yep, he's definitely increasing from current rate to new
Increasing.
rate.
Okay.
He's in the threes, and so he'll be in the sevens.
Okay.
Just because of where we're going to be jumping to. But think of what you just said, right? The credit cards being in the 20s and 30s. I mean, the interest savings is huge. I haven't even actually done the math, but it's massive.
Like the overall cash flow savings month to
Yeah.
month.
Well, cash flow and then interest on these credit cards, because if you look at it, I mean, he's buried. He's not
Okay.
going to be able to pay these things off anytime soon.
Right.
So,
So think about it in the long run, right? If you got a mortgage that's sitting in the twos, but you got 100K in credit card debt at 25-30%, it's an annual percentage rate. So just for simple math, 100 grand, 25%, that's costing that client almost over $2,000 a month just in interest.
yeah.
I can't imagine that consolidating is not going to make sense.
Yeah.
Now,
100%.
everyone's not as extreme as that. Like, I've got clients 20 grand, 30 grand, 50 grand, run the gamut of credit card debt. In fact, I had one just recently, a repeat client. I really wanted to help her out, but she had let it go too far. She waited too far on the sideline and then came to me and said, Andrew, I need help now. And yeah, we were trading for a slightly higher rate. She had the equity, but she waited too long to pull the trigger. And by the time we got to her credit score had dropped too far. She was deep into the fives,
Mm.
and I was unable to help her. So now she's stuck, and it was like, if you would have just called me 3 months ago, 4 months ago, before the problem got too bad and it affected your credit score, you can pay your credit on time. But if your balances get too high in relationship to the limit, your score is going to tank, right? If you owe $1,000 and your limit's $1,000, you're 100% maxed out. You're perceived as high risk. Your credit's going down. But
Yep.
if you owe $1,000 and your limit's 10,000, still the same $1,000, your utilization is only 10%. Your credit's going up instead of down.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, she
So
waited too long.
personal story, my wife and I, several years ago, we were in several thousands of dollars of credit card debt ourselves, and we actually had just overcome a foreclosure about 5 years prior, and so our credits we couldn't ever get out of the 600s, like the low 600s. And long story short, I did an FHA loan. We pulled out cash. I was freaking out about the mortgage payment, but pulled out the cash, paid off all their credit cards. No joke, within 3 to 5 months, I looked and my credit scores were in the 700s because of that exact reason, right? Because I was extended to almost 100% of all my limits for my credit cards, paid them all off, left them open, paid them all off, and then all of a sudden, credit score just shot up.
Right.
And
You know,
then we
yeah.
actually refinanced to a conventional loan with a lower rate than what we had initially when we first
Right.
started.
I
So,
call that the two-step, right? I call that the two-step process. You do the refi that you need to do to get yourself out of the rut, to get the scores turned around and consolidated, enjoy some of that cash flow, monthly savings, build up a nest egg in case things happen again, right? Emergency happens again. You're going to see the credit score skyrocket, and maybe rates get better, but also your credit score is going to get better, right?
Mhm.
Better the credit score, better the rates you're going to get on the mortgage. So yeah, you two-stepped. I literally call that the two-step. Refi, get it
I love
done,
that.
scores go up, boom, we do it again in 6 to
Yeah.
12 months and get you where you need to be. And I think, we keep seeing people sitting on the sidelines. People are like, well, rates are going to come down. Well, guess what? You keep waiting and your debt obligations keep going up and up and up every single month, right? What's going to
Yeah.
happen? Your credit score is going to go in the tank. And the time that you waited sitting on the sideline, you could have been refinancing, consolidating, saving money every single month, creating a plan to pay that debt obligations down faster. Then the rates come down and your credit scores go up, and then you take advantage of it again.
Yeah. I think that's hugely important is I try to educate all my clients. I know you do too, to not get stuck on that rate, right? We marry the house. We don't marry the interest rate. And if we just have that mentality from day one, what we have to remember is back what you were saying before, the feds are no longer buying in trillions of dollars a month mortgage-backed securities. So we're not seeing those low rates anymore. And frankly, we're not going to for a very long time.
What
So
investor wants that 2% return on their money? Why, as an investor, I'm buying these mortgage-backed securities at bazillions of dollars. You
mhm,
think I'm excited as an investor to be getting 2% on my
right,
money? It's
right,
not going to happen.
exactly, right. So, I think it's just important to educate people and let them know that, yeah, you could enjoy your 2, 3, and 4, but then my biggest question is, how's that working for you in reference to your long-term financial goals with what you're doing now? Are you going to be able to get to that point where you want to be with maybe my client that has $10,000 of credit card debt each month, or someone
Right.
that just has a couple $1,000s each month, or a couple hundred? Doesn't really matter. Is where you're at now going to help you get to where you need to be, or would a cash out refinance truly make sense for you? And it doesn't in every scenario. I know you can speak to that too, Andrew, but in a lot of scenarios, it just makes sense. Just pay it off, get rid of it, do the 2-step, right? Let your credit score increase, get yourself in a better financial position.
Love it.
Yeah.
So if I'm a person that has some credit card debt and it's climbing every single month, what should I do?
Man, immediately you just need to call, right?
Yeah.
Just call, just get that analyzed, and from someone that you trust. Hopefully, it's one of us. But I mean, I can't tell you how many conversations I have daily, where I'm analyzing people's debt. I have a whole debt simulator where I go through and I plug it all in. And like I said, even with sometimes the larger credit card debt, it doesn't always make sense to do a
Right.
refinance. But in a lot of cases, it does, and it comes through with that little net number. And I'm either in the green or the red, right?
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, I'm analyzing those for those clients, and sometimes those clients say, "Hey, thanks," and they go to their regular loan officer. But at the end of the day, I'm happy I can help
Right.
and at least give an expert opinion.
It's cheesy, but I kind of equate it like going to the doctor, right? Like if you have some medical issue going on, you're just going to sit at home and keep bitching about it. No, you're going to pick the phone up. And you're like, I need to talk to the doctor, and you're going to go to
Yep.
the doctor. And what's the first thing the doctor's going to do when you go see the doctor? They're going to put you on the scale. They're going to take your weight. They're going to take your blood pressure, maybe run some tests, right? They're going to follow a path, right?
Yep.
And we do the same thing. So when clients come in, it's like, okay, like what's going on? Let's understand your credit. Let's understand your
Hmm.
income. Let's understand your assets. Let's understand your goals. And are you moving proactively in the right direction every single month to meet those goals? Because if not, then we got a problem. And how can I help you get to a point where you are proactively saving every single month, you're paying down your debt obligations every single month, and you're better and better every single month after month after month, right? Because that's how you get those little wins. So in 12 months from now, are you going to be in a better situation than you are today?
Yep.
Because if in 12 months you're in worse shape, it's only going to get worse the next 12 and the next 12 and the next 12.
Hmm. Yeah, you brought up a great point that I think is huge to hit on as we wrap up. But just most people, I think, when they think of a loan officer and picking up the phone and calling them or starting something with them, in fact, I get this a lot where people say, "Oh, you're not going to pull a credit right off the bat." Well, no. Let's talk about where you're at, right? Like you
Right.
just said, like a doctor. Let's analyze two things. One, where is your current financial situation? Number two is let me help you. And it's amazing to me how many clients don't really think about what their long-term financial goals are. They just think of, I'm just stuck under this debt. I don't know how to get out of it. Well, yeah, there's an immediate fix here, but sometimes there needs to be a multi-step, maybe a 2-step process. But we need to talk about what that final future financial plan looks like for each client. And a lot of people don't really think about that when they think, let me pick up the phone and talk to my loan officer. They just think, let's take care of this problem. When you and I, we're thinking 30 years down the road for our
Right.
clients, right? As far as where they need to be. So,
All right. Well, when in doubt, hit us up. There'll be some contact information here, somewhere you can click and hit us up, and we'd love to meet with you and see how we can help better your next 12 months in your financial future.
awesome. Sounds good.
Take care. Have a great day.